Hey YouTubers, Roland Martin here. I tell you what, for today, I want to show you how to cast farther than you've ever casted before, possibly, because I'm going to show you the advantages with the right kind of rod, the advantages with the right kind of cast, and the advantages with the right kind of line. So let's start off with the number one type of rod and reel for freshwater fishing, and that's a freshwater spinning rod and reel. And this is the 2500 series, which is the standard freshwater size. And that's a 6.5 foot spinning rod. It's one piece, my favorite. It's a beautiful rod. I use it a lot all the time. Now, most people, when they go to cast, will merely hold the line like this, and they'll cast with one hand. Okay, that's fine. And they get pretty accurate with it. Personally, I don't cast with one hand. Personally, I cast with two hands for a couple reasons, and I'll explain that in just a second. But what I'll have here, as soon as I get this line on, that's the other thing. I had monofilament on this rod. Now, monofilament is a little fluffy. Monofilament kind of jumps off the reel a little bit. Monofilament doesn't lay as good as braid, but it is actually better than fluorocarbon. Now, fluorocarbon's even more of a problem. But let's just take the middle of the road monofilament 14-pound test line. That's the number one size line for most freshwater fishing is 14-pound test. Okay, that's a standard 14-pound test monofilament line. Let's take it with one hand like we normally cast, and I'm just going to throw it out there just pretty far. I'm just going to put it down for just a second. I'll hold it with my finger. One-handed, I'm just going to make a nice long cast as hard as I can throw. Okay, I see right where it is. I'm going to lay that rod down. I see right where it is. It's right towards that big tree out there. And now I'm going to take these other two rods and I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk a little bit different about the rod. First of all, let's talk about a 7-foot rod versus a 6.5 foot rod. A 7-foot rod theoretically gives you a little bit more tip speed and theoretically a little bit more distance. Okay, that's one thing about a 7-foot rod. The other thing about this rod and reel, this is again a 2500 series reel, the exact same reel. And this is, again, the exact same lure. This is a Seiko by Yamamoto. It happens to be on a 4/0 hook, but all three of these rods have the exact same lure, the exact same hook. So they're the exact same weight. Okay, so now I'm going to throw this one, and this is a different kind of line. Before I had 14-pound monofilament. Now on this rod, I have 15-pound braid. This is just a standard braid 15-pound test. It's kind of a green moss color. Now, in addition to that, it's a 7-foot rod. It's braid. I'm going to take the line and the rod, and I'm going to hold it like this because I like to hold it with my hand for two reasons. Number one, I guide the rod into a more accurate cast. That's the first reason why I hold it like this. And the second reason, I get more power with two hands. I can just whip it farther. So now I'm going to let about 2 feet of line dangle like it is, about 2 feet of line dangling. And now I'm going to throw it towards that same big tree again. I'm going to hold it hard, and I'm going to cast hard. Okay, now put that rod down. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. Okay, talk about the third rod. The third rod is a saltwater rod. It's one that Favorite makes. It's for the old Salty series. It's on a 4,000 or 5,000 size reel. A reel is quite a bit bigger. The spool is quite a bit bigger than the 2500 reel. It's the same 15-pound test braid. The guides are possibly a little bit bigger, but it's set up. It's a longer rod. Instead of being 7 foot, it's 7 foot 8 inches. So it's a 7.5 foot rod. So it's a saltwater rod I use for red fishing and for snook fishing. And when we're in the saltwater flats, I want to throw a long ways because the fish are spooky and they're way out there. Okay, so this is my really long distance rod. Again, I'm going to hold a couple feet of line like this. I'm going to wait just a second because the wind's blowing. I want to get all things even and equal. Let that thing be about 2.5 foot off the rod tip. As soon as the wind kind of stops, I think it stopped, I'm going to take the lower hand right here and I'm going to power cast it as far as I can. Now, we're going to go out there now and see where all the lures are. because I'm going to say we considerably outcasted the monofilament. And the longer saltwater rod probably outcasted the shorter freshwater rod. Let's go find out. Let's go look at the lures. Okay, I'm going to take steps. I'm going to do this in yardage. So I'm going to be counting yardages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 25. 25 yards right here. 25 yards. That's 75 feet. Okay? 75 feet. Let's find the next one. 33, 34, 35. Okay, the second one was 35 yards. That's 10 yards farther. That's 30 more feet. So the first one was 75 feet. This one's 105 feet. Okay, that's the third one, and that's 35 yards. Let's go 36, 37, 38, 39, 46, 47 yards. 47 yards. You know, that's almost 150 feet. That's 140 feet. Over 140 feet with a long cast. Now that's a long ways. I'll tell you where that comes into play. If you're a tournament fisherman and you got a partner that's seeing a fish up ahead, you can outcast them, number one. Okay? If you're a saltwater fisherman and you're on a flat and there's a big school of redfish so far away and they're so spooky, you need a long cast to get to them. That's the way we catch them, long casts. Okay? And the third thing is, sometimes you're in shallow water. Sometimes you can't get any shallower. Sometimes the boat won't get any shallower, yet the fish are shallower. And you need that 140, 150 foot cast just to reach the fish. So there's a lot of advantages for long distance casting. You catch more fish. Hey folks, hey, Roland Martin here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Knots. What is the #1 knot of the whole world? Well, it's the fisherman's knot. What's the fisherman's knot? Well, the fisherman's knot is really a clinch knot. And that's a clinch knot, whether it's a 5-turn clinch knot or a 7-turn clinch knot, whether it's an improved clinch knot, whether it's a double improved clinch knot. A clinch knot is a clinch knot, and I'm going to show you different ways of tying it. Number one, I tie it a lot on just to say a 10-pound monofilament. The #1 line in the whole world, if you were to look at all the line that's sold in the whole world, probably a 10-pound monofilament would probably lead the pack. So I'm going to start off with showing you how to tie a simple clinch knot or an improved clinch knot or even a double improved clinch knot with a 10-pound line. What is a clinch knot? Let's just take this line right here and I'll just start with this little scenario. And I'll just come through the eye of this jig. Okay, now with this jig, I'm going to take this lighter line and I'm going to come through the eye of the hook of the jig, and I'm just going to put my finger over this area here, and I'm going to wrap it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this is a light line. This is just a light 10-pound test line. I'm just going to pull it through there and just pull it tight. Well, now that's the regular clinch knot. That's not a double improved clinch knot. That's not any kind of improved anything. It's just a 7-turn clinch knot. And I can trim that off as well. Okay, now that clinch knot is about 90% or so. Okay, I just showed you the regular clinch knot. I'm just going to take this knife and cut this line off this jig just to show you. Okay folks, let's go to the second knot. Let's go to the improved clinch knot. Let's start with the lighter line and go to a 7-turn improved clinch knot. Okay, let me show you how I do that. Okay, on the improved clinch knot, I come through the eye of the jig, put my finger in position, wrap it 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, come through the first loop that I made with my finger, through the first loop with my finger, and come through the second loop that I just made behind that. Okay, now pull the whole thing tight and wet it. I'm going to wet it. I just wetted it with my mouth. Okay, folks, we've done the standard clinch knot. We've done the improved clinch knot. There's one more clinch knot, and that's the double improved clinch knot. What's a double improved clinch knot? Well, first of all, to make a double improved clinch knot, I got to double my line. So I'm going to double my line. I'm going to take about a foot of line and double it. Okay? Make a nice little loop right here. A double line. Now, let's come in. I'm coming through the eye of the jig with 2 lines, a double line. Now I'm going to treat it like a single line. I'm going to go around it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was going 7. Let's just go 4 or 5 because it's double now. Go through the back loop that you made with your index finger, and then come through the loop that you made by your thumb. Okay? Now pull the tag end out. Pull the tag end out. Pull the whole thing down tight. And let's pull the tag in. I like to wet it. I'll wet it. Pull the tag in tight. Set the whole thing. Set it. That's set it. Double line. Okay, now you have several things to cut. You got the single line here. I can cut it that way. Boom. I got the double piece of line that we had right here. I can cut it right here the same way. And I got 3 little ends sticking out now. But it's the double improved clinch knot. Remember, you don't go the whole 7, you can only go 4 or 5. And that is a stronger knot than the improved clinch knot. And it's a stronger knot, of course, than the standard just 5 to 7 turn clinch knot. So a double improved clinch knot is about as good as clinch knots get. Anyway, okay, you can't tie it with the heavy leader, but you can tie a double improved clinch knot with the braid. So I think I've straightened out all the ways of tying clinch knots, because clinch knot's the number 1 knot in the world, the old fisherman's knot that they call it. Hey, it's easy to tie. You can tie it in the dark. Okay, folks, so thanks for watching this YouTube, and I hope this little knot tying adventure will help you out. Catch more and bigger fish. See you later.